So let's talk about movies. Today we're sharing our thoughts on an absolute classic, actually, an 80s classic, released on 4K UHD Blu-ray. It is Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, comedy horror from 1988. But look who's back. This is thrilling. Sean, hello.
Hello, I'm that emoji. You've missed me. I've had life things to deal with, but I'm back, and it's 10:19 in the morning, and look at it, it's fresh as a daisy, Phil.
So what are you going to tell people? Are you going to say that you've just been away just not doing anything? Because of course we know that you have been really busy. That's probably why you come
back and have a whole new face, like surgery. Like I'd been kissed by an angel, and be like, no, I've just been spending some personal time rejuvenating and have like massive duck lips and be completely snapped.
Everyone knows that none of this is real. It's all filters, isn't it? It's all filters and effects, colour work.
No, it doesn't matter. People may have seen me bopping around clubs and bars, but I'm formally back.
Can we just start this review by saying unpleasant dreams? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. There's lots of that double entendre city, isn't it, this?
Oh, I love it. And also it just made me think the entire construct of RuPaul's Drag Race is based off Elvira and 2 on Through, Thanks for Everything, Julia Newmar.
Yeah.
I mean, you just take those two films, whack in a bit of Divine, and you've got the entire format of Drag Race.
You're absolutely right. I think that's nailed it. We can go home now, can't we? I mean, we are home, but we can stop the review. Job is done. So, yeah, Cassandra Peterson, she's a big friend of RuPaul's anyway, isn't she? Back from way back.
And she appeared very recently on the show, and Ru's clearly got, like, heart eye emojis for Sandra Peterson. And fair dues. I mean, what an icon.
I know, absolutely. Goth icon, comedy icon, LGBT queer icon.
Yeah.
It's all there. This might be a shocker to you, but I've never seen this film, even way back in the 80s. No, because I was actually a goth when this came out. I mean, I thought I was a proper goth. I probably wasn't a proper goth, because proper goths just don't look alive, do they? So, I was living. Yeah, it surprises me now when I think back that I'd never seen it.
Do you know why it is you haven't watched it? Because you were rewatching Matilda.
Yeah, Cruella.
Cruella, that's right. Because you were rewatching your favourite film of 2023. Yeah, I mean, it's an icon. I mean, I remember seeing this. I probably seen this probably my third time. I'm watching it in 4K UHD. Sounds like a milk.
Oat milk.
And milk. Same. It's kind of fresh. And I was a bit like, I've seen this before. And when I did start it, I was like, am I paying enough attention? But he just drew me in again. It's an absolute hoot. Absolutely love it.
It really is. And I suppose it's aged well when you consider, a lot of these jokes are kind of tit gags, aren't they? And a lot of people probably would have thought, well, that's had its day, we've moved on from that. But actually, it's really tongue-in-cheek as well.
I mean, how's your head? No complaints. It's still a cracking line. Even though it's said every week in Drag Race, it's still a cracking line.
Brilliant. So it's directed by James Signorelli, who's the film producer for Saturday Night Live, which I suppose gives it that comedy element. That it's that style, isn't it? It's very quick humour. The comedic timing is pretty much spot on in this. It stars Cassandra Peterson, as we said. She's the eccentric horror icon, the horror host Elvira. Written by Sam Egan, John Paragon, and Cassandra Peterson. So she's co-written this as well. She wrote a memoir just a few years ago, which explains the whole backstory. So, a fascinating life herself. As a human, not as a character, but obviously that character is what people know, isn't it? That's who we know as her.
It's like One Speed, but it's like Charo. Like, it's One Speed, but everyone absolutely adores the single speed and the gorgeousness of it. I mean, it did make me think most people I think will get the premise, but she hosts this like schlocky B-movie horror thing on some kind of cable channel in the US, and when I squinted, I did think, is that Phil?
It's me.
Oh, someone talking about horror. Is it Phil? But no, I mean, just it's a goth. It's the goth connection, Phil. It
is. Yeah. Well, that's a very lovely comparison. Thank you for that. I should pay you next time I see you. So weirdly, this film received, kind of mixed reviews from critics at the time, which does surprise me. I suppose it's a different time back then, though, isn't it?
Which critics? I mean, Roger Ebert. I mean, who are we talking about? I mean, I think it is a bit like Marmite, and I think it's one of those films which it's like a good wine. It's aged well, and you think about other films that probably sit in that category that we'll think about in 10 years' time and go, oh, it's an absolute seminal icon. or absolute seminal classic. But at the time, you're a bit like, how did that happen? A bit like Crossroads. So, I think it has a moment in time. I think it's like also things like Mean Girls, the original one, not the remake schlocky one. The original one that has kind of baked itself into like film parlance as a point in time. But at the time, everyone was like, "What's this?" But it's the same, because it's got. If you think about that it's got a set of writers that end up on SNL, and it's got a charm to it, and it's got a bit of a wink and a nudge.
Yeah.
There's movies like that sit and kind of grow, and I think Elvira is one of those.
Yeah, very true. We'll come into the story in a second, but first, unsurprisingly, I suppose, because of the reviews, it did lose money at the box office originally. I suppose it's become a cult classic over time, but it cost $7.5 million to make. I think it made like 5 or something, so they lost a couple of million.
I suppose it's now, though.
Recouped, yeah, exactly. So, I suppose at the time it may have been a disappointment.
Yeah. I mean, what's not a disappointment is Bob, who is the cinema owner and an absolute stunner.
And the poodle.
I was watching it thinking, Elvira's really looked out with Bob. I mean, he's quite like.
Yeah, that's true. I suppose there's something for everyone, especially for the gay boys. There's quite a lot for the gay boys. Should we talk about the story then? You're good at this, aren't you? The synopsis.
Talk about the story, as if there is one. But no, there is. No, there is a story. So, as I say, Elvira, she runs this kind of like B-movie, late night film review of like really kind of like schlocky horrors. She's in a bit of debt, and she finds out from a letter from a lawyer that she is due to get some inheritance, and she obviously gets kind of like money bag emoji eyes going, oh, this is going to solve all my problems. So she drives in her car to this small town to get the inheritance, and on the way to getting the inheritance, her car breaks down and she finds herself in this very small town, which is highly religious and very small and very cliquey. And that's really where the story starts, because she's like a fish out of water. She is this very, very unique creature in a very, very suburban, quite classic picket fenced American town. And that really is where the narrative starts. Underpinning that, her family, her mother's called Divana and her grandmother's called Morgana, which are just dying, have this kind of mystical, supernatural, witchy component that Elvira kind of emerges into because of her evil Uncle Vincent.
It's actually quite a lot of story. I mean, we joked about
that being that, and I was like, shit.
Yeah, there's quite a lot in there. I mean, when you think about how much they pack in, considering when you think, it's kind of all about the other, isn't it? It's about being other. So I think that ticks boxes.
You're right. And the otherness. What's amazing about Elvira is she embraces the otherness. So she's not shamed by the otherness. She's not like, oh, I'm a bit odd in this town, so I'll keep my head down. Yeah. She's the opposite. She completely owns it and is iconic. And I think that's why people fall in love with her, because she kind of gives zero f***s, quite frankly.
And she owns the screen. I mean, let's talk about that chemistry, because I could not take my eyes off her in this movie. And there's a lot of other things to look at, the poodle, which we'll come on to, I'm sure. But she's just brilliant. And I love her, like, frequent eye rolls and that whole kind of like, she kind of doesn't want to be doing what she's doing, but she's doing it because she's embracing it. So there's that mixture of her just kind of taking the piss, really, which I love.
She also, which was not done in the time, she also breaks the fourth wall a lot. And I think, people talk about that today, think about things like Fleabag and stuff, and they go, oh, they break the fourth wall. She was there. She was doing it. There's so much in it that I think is quite clever, that you look back and go, oh, we see a lot of these traits, or we see a lot of these tropes, we see a lot of these behaviors today in film. But really, Elvira was there. She had a finger on the pulse.
And she worked with the right people, because she had a costume designer, didn't she, who I think she lost 2 years before this film came out. So the costume designer obviously designed that cleavage enhancing gown that she wears that's become iconic, that was Elvira. I mean, that was her look, wasn't it? Yeah. Along with all the hair and everything.
The hair and the figure hugging dress is Elvira.
Robert Redding was the guy who designed the costume. He worked with her on a TV show that she did before the film, Movie Macabre.
Yeah, I think what I find amazing is when I was watching it, a few things sprung to mind, which is there's so many iconic things where the queer community grab hold of something, and I'm just surprised this has not been a night of 1,000 Elviras, because the look, the hair, And even that performance, you know, she does that kind of she does a rerun of Flashdance.
Oh yeah,
I'm ready for someone at the Divine to do that for me. Like
yeah.
that is a whole, almost like compartmentalized piece of drag show that could just be lifted, and it would be lauded and applauded. Because it's just high cam, high brilliant, amazingly referential. Love it. I mean, that's where my brain went to. So maybe I'll do that. You might see me soon doing an Elvira-esque Flashdance routine at the RVT.
I'm sure everyone else will echo what I say, but I'd pay good money to see that. I've actually got money here. If you're ready, I could maybe do a warm up right now.
Let's do it.
The success of this movie is down to the writing as well, of course. Obviously, the comedy timing is really important, but the writing is really witty. I mean, yes, it does rely on tit jokes, but they own that. Cassandra Peterson does own it. She wants to do it. So it's kind of like a woman owning that. It's not a man making fun of a woman's look or appearance. She's owning it. She's in control. So I love that about this film, is that, you know, she's definitely wearing the trousers. I hate that term because it's kind of bringing the emphasis back on men again. But she does.
She's owning it. She controlled it, and she co-wrote it.
Yeah,
right,
and very tongue in cheek. I mean, lots of influences. You've got Carry On, of course. You've got Carry On, but you've also got the Pink Panther, and you've got Scooby Doo. You know, all these kind of cartoony elements as well, which make it fun, but also very nod, wink, wink.
When she paints the home, it's very Scooby-Doo.
I mean, it's typical of that style, which I suppose she loves herself.
Yeah.
So that's very personal, isn't it? Because that's what she's grown up with. Are we going to go for it? It's too early to go for a verdict, star rating?
Well, I just want to say one thing, which is, again, genius bit of writing. The baddie is there's Uncle Vincent, who's obviously like some like, I won't spoil it, but I mean, this film is 30 years old, so some kind of like evil wizard, slightly twisted, slightly warped character. But there is a local counsellor called Chastity Pariah, which again is a effing good name for a character. Chastity Pariah. That's a drag name right there, out of the box.
It's
so
brilliant.
If you're 17 and you're thinking of starting your drag career, Chastity Pariah, it's yours. It's so good. And that's played by Edie McClory. And she's did a load of films. In that period of time, late 80s, 90s, Edie McClory popped up everywhere, playing that kind of like prim Christian woman who is outraged by everything. So yeah.
She played a bully in Carrie. So she was the bully one of the bullies that bullied
real
Sissy
history
Spacek.
of all those films that we watched as a kid when there was only 4 channels.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like she's been in a lot of stuff. And so respect to her. And like, you know, she also has a moment, wink, wink, in the film where she lets her hair down a bit, which I loved.
It's making me fill up just bringing back all these memories
Like
of watching this. I don't need inflation. I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was campy. I thought it was ridiculous. As RuPaul would say, it's stupid. It's so stupid. But it is for the right reasons, and it owns that stupidness. Because I think that's very different to, you know, a film that is just stupid but just naff. This is so not naff, and it's totally winning in my book.
This is the thing. There's stupid naff, and then there's stupid that's cerebral. The people behind it have a brain, and that comes through because it's rich and it's clever, and that's the thing that I think. Referring back to Rue, because Rue loves stupid, but he likes a clever queen. And what you get with this is there's something quite clever behind it, presenting as dumb, presenting as a bit stupid, but you get something magical.
I'd love to see this in a cinema, like, say, the Prince Charles or somewhere in London.
Yeah.
With gaggle of gays, you know, just have a few beers and just let your head down. And I think it would be a hoot, because it's a real crowd pleaser, isn't it?
There's so many other cult classics that have got that moment, and I sometimes feel that Elvira hasn't had that moment, and it deserves it. You know, don't get me wrong, I love a Showgirls reunion in a cinema. I'm a gay man, but ultimately, I'd love an Elvira moment too.
And Crossroads.
Well, I think we're talking about different Crossroads, Phil.
Not that Crossroads, Britney's Crossroads.
Thank you. Both Crossroads, with Benny, and Crossroads with Brittany.
Yeah, I should say we're not reviewing all the special features because we only got sent the screener for the actual movie of this, but it is coming out on Blu-ray. It's out actually already, 4K. We didn't talk about the poodle.
Oh, amazing! The familial, yes, actually very fierce.
Is it Algonquin?
Yeah, Algonquin, yeah. Gong.
Gong.
Abbreviated Gong.
With a Mohican.
And Elvira gives Gong quite the makeover. And I think Gong's actually celebrating. That was the sense I got. Gong was like, yes, this is the person I've always wanted to be.
Yeah.
This is my inner authentic poodle.
Yeah.
And very, very fierce.
Yeah, pushing
Gong.
Lassie out the way. Get
Get out of the way, Lassie, you're dull.
What's your star rating, Sean Vickers?
4.
Yes! I mean,
That's actually 8. 4.
I kind of want to give it 5 because it's so ridiculous, but so brilliant. And 5 is a masterpiece. It kind of is. I mean, we had Lads Club.
I'm right between, but I'm a hard marker.
Yeah, I know. It always comes back to that, doesn't it? Yeah. We had Greg from Lads Club who tweeted us saying, actually, it's not tweet at all because we're off X now, Twitter, whatever it was. Yeah, we're on Blue Sky now, guys. Follow us there. But anyway, he messaged saying, I won't accept anything other than 5 stars for this movie, which he's got a point, hasn't he?
Yeah. Well, you have that 5-star babe in your head.
It's 4.
I will say, I'll get all my classics in. Hard marker. It didn't need to be 20 minutes short. It was just right.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of those good things.
Fabulous. Oh, Sean, it's so good to have you back.
It's so nice to be back.
You know it's a slippery slope now, don't you? I'm going to be passing loads of films
I'm
your
ready
way.
for the next one where I go, it's a load of shit. God, we've seen this before. God, who's made this dog? Yeah, I'm ready for that one. I'm ready.
See you next time. Thanks for watching, everyone. Don't forget to subscribe.